everybody, and welcome to another wonderful episode of Anae's Food Show. On our show today, I have a lady who is a civil engineer. We don't hear a lot about civil engineers in Cameroon, especially women. And she's also an internationally acclaimed advocate for STEM. So stay tuned as we hear from her what all that means. But in line with talking to her, we are also going to be doing some steamed fish and stir-fried cabbage. So anybody who wants to eat healthy, stay well, protect your heart, this is the show for you to actually tune into, because what we have in store for you today is very healthy. And I would also confirm even beforehand that it's very tasty. So don't go away.
Anna's Food Show, your favorite food and lifestyle show. The assurance for your well-being.
Hello, Sophie.
Hello.
Welcome to our show today, and it is actually a pleasure to have a female civil engineer on the show today. So I'm glad you're on, and just give us a little bit of a background as to who you are and some of the things that you've done already.
Thank you, Anne. It's actually a privilege for me to be here today. I'm very happy about that. So I'm called Sophie Ngasa. I'm a civil engineer by profession, and I've been teaching in a technical college for 13 years.
Excellent.
So this has made me become a STEM advocate.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now a lot of people hear STEM, but they're not quite sure what that means. What exactly does STEM mean?
STEM, S for science, T for technology, E for engineering, and M for mathematics.
Science,
Technology, engineering, and mathematics. Thank you.
Wow. So this now is for girls. What does STEM do?
Yeah, I work specifically with girls because I want to increase the representation of women in STEM.
Okay.
I want to get more girls into the STEM field.
Okay, into science-oriented and technology fields.
You got that right.
And so how has that been so far for us here in Cameroon, especially up here in the Northwest in particular, in the areas that you've been working with?
So far, I've worked in 7 secondary schools and 5 primary schools.
Okay.
At the beginning was a bit challenging because we have technical colleges that don't have laboratories, and even when they have, they're not well equipped.
Okay.
So you need to stress a lot, or we give a lot of theory, so you find students who can't really excel in that field.
Okay, So how are you helping them along to excel, to get them to that point of excellence?
Yeah, what I'm actually doing is that I created a center called Center for Youth Education and Economic Development.
Okay.
In this center, it's like a maker space, like a tech hub for girls, where I inspire them to gain interest in the STEM fields, and then they are able to choose STEM for a career.
Okay. And how is that working? About how many girls do you have enrolled in that?
I actually run STEM programs. A program can run for maybe 1 month. There's some programs for 2 or 3 months.
Okay, excellent. Well, that is a great thing you're doing, because we need more girls in science. Okay, and I just happen to love cooking, but I ended up in food science also. But mathematics, I think, frightened me a little bit. But when I knew what I had to do, I had to manage that math part. So, but we're gonna do some fish. We're gonna do steamed fish and stir-fried vegetables. So let's start with the fish recipe. Let's just jump right in. Okay, to get that ready, I have mustard, prepared mustard, okay, and mustard, some people call it, okay, but mustard is what I call it. And then we're gonna add about 2 teaspoons of garlic powder. So just using garlic powder instead of fresh garlic, because I just want the seasoning to really kind of coat the fish and get into it. So instead of fresh, it might not sink in as well. And then we're using black pepper. Now, if you like black pepper or white pepper, that's up to you. Personally, I use a lot more black pepper.
But do they have the same taste?
They actually don't quite have the same taste. Black pepper is sort of has a little bit of a pungency to it. White pepper seems milder, but it does have a different characteristic. It's almost musty flavor. However, they do stem from the same berry.
Yeah.
But for the white pepper, it's fermented and it gets that white to that white.
Wow.
But they all stem from the same berries. But it's just processed differently.
Have lots to learn today. Thank you.
Yes, yes. So we need to get girls also involved in food science and
Sure.
processing. Yeah. So, and then we're using like a quarter teaspoon of country onions that normally you would use for actual soup spices and other country plantains and stuff like that. But I find that it is an excellent flavor enhancer. Yeah, so I use it quite a bit in a lot of my recipes because it enhances overall flavor without it being a predominant flavor itself.
Does country onions have an English name?
The English name or the scientific,
name
is very long and a little bit difficult.
Okay. Then let's not get into that. It's complicated.
But it has but we normally call it country onion. That's the local name. Yeah, because I think from when it's harvested, it almost starts smelling like onions. But it actually really doesn't smell. It's not really the same odor as normal onions. However, it does stem from its harvesting and processing. So that's where the name comes from. That's how it was explained to me. But and then we're using a little bit of dill seed. I don't know if you're familiar with this one, which some people call rice spice.
I think it looks like anive.
Anive is what some people refer to it.
Yeah.
Also rice spice. Some people
spice.
call it rice spice,
Okay,
locally. But dill seed is really the name for it.
Dill seed.
Dill seed.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's really a school here today.
We'll get some of that in there. It's actually excellent in fish. It really brings out fish well. And we'll just put a little bit of that in there. And then we'll also do about, we'll do a lemon, a full lemon. I'll just get the juices out there. Now, lemon and fish also goes very well. Most restaurants, advanced restaurants, when you serve fish, you're also served a slice of lemon. You can squeeze also. But this one now, we're going to actually just use the lemon to marinate or to season the fish. Yeah. Yeah. My thing is not doing that very well.
So what does the term marinate mean actually?
Marinate just simply means that it's sitting in spices. And so when it sits in seasoning, then it picks up the flavors. And sometimes you can cook the meat with the marinade. Sometimes you can actually discard the marinade and just cook the meat, depending on what kind of meat you were marinating for. Yeah. So this one we're actually going to just season it more like it will end up being more like a rub. So we'll just apply it to it and then let it steam. And that steaming, because we're not necessarily frying or grilling per se. If I were going to put this on a grill, I would actually let it sit longer before I grill it. Okay, but we're going to steam this, so the heat action would actually get the spices and the seasoning to get to the fish. Yes.
Great.
Okay. So just mix that up. Okay. So I'm not sure if cooking is your thing or not.
Cooking is a woman's thing.
Yeah, really.
An African woman must cook.
Woman must cook, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's really it's an African thing. And some people like it more than others, but which is just natural to me. There's not an issue with it. I just have a little bit of oil on the pan, okay? Only about maybe a tablespoon of oil, and it's just to get the onions moistened. I'm not going to let it heat up too much. I'm just going to go ahead and add the onions to it. We're not going to cook the onions at all before putting the fish on it. We'll just let it heat through. And I'm actually going to get the heat much lower than this. Okay. So we'll do it like that. And if you just get
the
plate
fish.
of fish,
Okay.
yes. Okay, and we're using bar fish. Yeah, so
They call it white fish.
it is a white fish, meaning that it's not as oily as some other fish types would be. But fish oils actually is not a bad thing. Fish oil is actually very good for you. So it helps a lot with your heart, helps with hair growth, helps with skin. Actually, it's an overall good fish or fish oil rather. You know, like when you have little children and you give them fish oil. Yeah.
Cod liver oil. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. Well, there was a reason. It's good for their health. And
Yes.
as adults, it's also good for our health. So we should not necessarily minimize it. I think we still have some more fish back there we can add to the pan. And of course, we cannot neglect the head of the fish.
No.
But I'll set this aside for now.
Okay.
I'll just do. You can do this whole or you can do this cut as I've done it here. If you just do a whole fish, you just baste it. You just season it like we're doing the same way. And then you place it on your onions. Okay. You can also do it in the oven or you can do it on the stove top like we're doing.
Okay. But if you're doing it full, it means your pot or your pan needs to be
need,
large.
Yeah, you need to have a pan that can handle the full fish.
It.
Yeah. If you do it in the oven, actually, you might just do it full. Okay. And that's all there is to it. Very simple.
Can already get the flavor.
Yeah.
It's coming up.
So what we'll do then is just put a lid on it and then just let it simmer on that really low heat for about 15 to 20 minutes and it should be done.
Wow.
Okay, so by the time we get our vegetables going, that fish should be ready. So stay tuned and we'll be right back.
Anna's Food Show, your favorite food and lifestyle show. The assurance for your well-being.
Okay, we have our fish steaming over here and it's doing nice and beautiful. We'll just reduce that again just a little bit. Now on the fish dish, I have the onions at the bottom of the pan, so it will form like a layer, so the steam from the juices of the onion would actually go into cooking the fish.
Wow.
Yes. So that will just let go. Now what we'll do now is our stir fry cabbage. Okay, are you a cabbage eater?
I am.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
Even red cabbage, I eat them raw.
Yeah, excellent. Now, what I want to do is to sort of offer a different approach to how we normally prepare cabbage. Because most households you go to, when you want to do cabbage, you have to soak it, wash it, and all of that. Now, cabbage, in my opinion, is something that has a lot of nutrients in it. So we don't need to actually kill it before we eat it.
That's right.
And it's considered a superfood, meaning that it's really loaded. I mean, it's got everything from vitamins to minerals, you know, calories and everything. So normally you see that when people are on weight loss plans, they start eating cabbage and you hear of cabbage soup and all of that.
That's true.
But cabbage in its own, it's an excellent food. So I'm just using olive oil here. Start off with olive oil. I think that's my pan is way too hot. So it's, we'll turn that off for now. So we'll just start with some olive oil, about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. That's all that we're going to use. And then I will chop some garlic. We have about 8 cloves of garlic that is going to go into it. So in the previous one we used garlic powder. Just now we're actually going to use fresh garlic. And I'll just coarsely chop it, not too much. I'm not going to use a stone because normally when you use a stone, you grind it, you release a lot of juices and you lose that juice on the stone.
On the stone.
Yeah. And I prefer to just put it here, you fry it, it releases the flavor and it infuses more flavor into your dish.
Wow, and you know good things.
So
you
I would
know.
rather use the stone for
don't want to lose any part of all the nutrients
All
cabbage
has to
can
be
leak.
in. Yeah, it has to be full of flavor. Yes, yes, yes. So I'll do this and then I'll slice some onions and just add it right in. And tell me a little bit more about the center you have. I see on your t-shirt you have it's Said.
Said, yeah.
Said. Okay, what does Said do?
Like
And
Riley
what
said,
programs?
Said is a center for youth education and economic development. In this center, we train youths, especially girls.
Okay.
I'm very interested in girl child education.
Okay.
Yeah, which is very important
So you stir.
at this moment.
Okay.
Do you know what, Anne? I'm on a mission to eradicate the stereotypes about STEM education being for boys.
For boys only.
Yeah.
Okay,
So the girls need to understand that they can do it and do it even better than the boys.
Now, how do most girls receive that? Because sometimes girls are a little bit timid when you start talking about science, and especially math.
That's why we have created this special space where girls build their self-confidence. They have no fear of judgment.
Okay.
They are amongst themselves. They open up and they can learn freely.
Okay. And what are some of the challenging situations you've had to face with that? As far as maybe getting girls to participate or parents allowing their daughters to participate?
The first challenge begins with the girls.
Okay.
Especially at the beginning, they lack the self-confidence. They are like afraid or frightened.
Okay.
Mathematics? No.
Yeah.
ICT? No.
Yeah.
They have never touched a computer. They have never used a laptop. So they need to begin to learn how to code.
Oh, okay.
So
now when you just begin to learn how to code, what does that mean?
Okay, that's about software development.
Okay.
Solving issues using mobile applications or some software programs.
Okay.
And another challenge is we have parents, like mothers like me, for example. We don't give enough education to our daughters. It all begins in the home and in the kitchen. When you start keeping boys out of the kitchen or you start giving some particular jobs only to girls, it affects them in the future. So we try to talk to parents, educating them about that and sensitizing them.
Okay. Excellent. So what I have now is leeks. Now there's usually a great confusion in the market as to what exactly this is.
Leek.
People call it poireau. Poireau is the French word for leeks. And what people actually call leeks is green onions. Okay. So this is actually leeks. But whatever way you call it, poireau or leeks, they use the broad stem, the broad leaf. Okay. So
Green onions.
yes, the other one is green, the smaller one.
Yeah, it's
that's
small.
green onion. Yeah, this is leeks. So we're going to add some leeks to it. Now, leeks and onions are of the same family.
I was going to ask the difference between them.
Yes. But you see now, the onion is a stronger, more intense, juicier one. But the leeks now, when you cook it like this, it softens it and it becomes sweeter also. If you cook the onions for a longer period, it will also get sweet, a little bit sweet. But nutritionally though, they actually do help to clean out your digestive tract. You know
Wow.
that? So
Great.
it's a very good thing for helpful digestion. So this actually is a very, very good meal which should really help you in a lot of ways. So what we'll do now at this point of stir fry, we'll add our spices so that they season also and start releasing those flavors. Okay. So we have.
I'm already imagining the kind of flavor that is going to come out of it.
Well, we're going to use black pepper again. So I have about 1 teaspoon. I'll be a little bit generous with the black pepper here.
Okay.
And then a teaspoon of salt. So, okay. As well as, again, we'll use a little bit of this dill seed that we used earlier.
You not grind it, you don't?
I just crushed it a little bit on the stone, just hit it a little bit, so it's not fine ground.
Not powder.
Just like crushed, just not too
Like powder.
powdered.
Oh.
Yeah. But I just passed it on the stone. Now on my stone, I use it for my seeds, for like country onions, black pepper, all that. But for fresh spices like ginger and garlic, I don't use the stone. I use a knife.
Okay.
Chop it. Okay. And then again, we'll go back to a little bit of our country onions. Okay. Now to stir fry that. Oh, it's too high.
Hi.
Okay. Now we've really got our garlic. You can really smell the garlic flavor in there. So this is also very simple and easy to do. So now just keep stirring while I add in the cabbage. So basically we just shredded the cabbage, rinse it out, and then we'll just stir fry it.
Wow.
Okay.
From under.
Yes. So it mixes in really well.
I hope it's not too hot again.
And then we're going to actually finish it off with a little bit of orange juice. So
Orange juice?
yes, we'll add a fresh orange to it. Okay. Okay. Let me just help you with this a little bit. Okay, and then we'll keep that stirring, and I'll prepare our orange.
Anna's Food Show, your favorite food and lifestyle show. The assurance for your well-being.
Okay. So now we've got it, it's fried down a little bit or stir fried. So now you can always add things like carrots to this if you want, cut into strips. You can add other vegetables.
Like green beans?
Like green beans you can add to it, and it will just wilt it down. And what is good about it is you don't overcook your vegetables, so you don't lose a lot of your nutrients. Okay, so you have your vegetables eaten as, you know, with the fullest of nutrients. Now when we wash a lot. You squeeze and squeeze and squeeze, and that juice that we're throwing out, that it smells, actually contains a lot of nutrients that we're throwing out.
And I think more women need to get educated about this. It's
And
really a
you
pertinent
actually-
issue.
Very much so, and you actually lose a lot of flavor too, because
Yeah.
that juice actually does flavor the food very well. And normally, yeah, it would smell when you keep it aside and you don't, treat it properly. Then you have that off smell to it. But as we just washed it and put it in, it should be perfectly fine. And I'm
Okay.
just putting in this orange juice just to,
Yes.
again, boost the flavor of it, not necessarily for the nutritional aspect of it, but we could have just dropped in some water, but why not
Okay.
orange juice? You have some natural sweeteners to it that would also enhance the overall flavor of the dish. Okay. Great. All right. So that's about the juice of one orange. And it's almost ready to be sampled. So this is fairly easy to do. Both dishes can be done in about 30 minutes to an hour. Let's just say an hour time by the time you slice your cabbage or whatever. So for a lady like yourself who is busy,
Very busy.
very busy, and you still want to make sure that your family has optimal health and eat well, you can do something like this really fast and serve them a good meal at the end of the day.
I'm so happy about that.
So when we come back now, we'll actually taste the food together. Our fish is almost ready, and we'll taste the two together and appreciate it. How is that? All right.
Sounds
stay tuned.
great.
Anna's Food Show, your favorite food and lifestyle show. The assurance for your well-being.
Okay, both our dishes are ready, the fish as well as our stir-fry cabbage. So are you ready to try them?
Sure, I am.
Excellent. So if you see, it's already cooked to the point where it's almost, falling apart a little bit. So that's really done. It doesn't take much time to cook this. So only about 15, 20 minutes, I think it was what it took. So that is ready to be tasted.
The best part of it.
Absolutely. So I will serve you some fish. Right, let's go for that piece right there. And the onions actually on there is cooked also really nice and soft. So you can actually even just serve this with the onions, even without this. And if you really must have another item, you can do some potatoes or yams or something like that, and it will be perfect. Okay.
Yeah, I was going to ask that. when you're going to use like plantain or something.
You can, yes, boiled plantains or something. You know, it will go very well with this. Boiled a little bit, maybe half fried plantains.
Thank you.
Excellent. Oh, that smells good. Okay, dig in. So, how is the fish?
I'm still looking for the word to describe it.
Oh, okay.
Delicious.
Okay. Delicious. Okay.
Mouth watering.
Okay. Well, excellent. Well, it was great having you as a guest on our show. And I hope you can make this for your family and invite me over. I'll come.
Okay. But when you come, I hope it will be the same like what I saw here.
No, you will do the same. I trust you. You'll do the same. So, thank you for watching. Follow us on Ane's Food Show on Facebook and YouTube. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for our next show and bon appetit.